with a today story. And then you asked me to say a little bit more about Big M mystery or spiritual practice, CMM is spiritual practice, and what the heck does that mean? And I talked about Big M mystery as the highest level context. And I really have been living my life in that way since, well, actually, since Barnett was diagnosed with cancer, and then certainly since his physical passing. So anyway, the origin story of the CMM Institute. When Barnett was diagnosed with cancer and we knew that it was terminal, there was a big question, and that question was, what do we do about CMM? Do we try to institutionalize it? You know, it is being taught in various universities. It does have somewhat of a home at Fielding Graduate University. There are a lot of practitioners around the world that are using it. So do we even need to have something like a place that might be a home for CMM? Or do we just allow CMM to do what it's going to do in the world and not have that home? In the spirit of CMM as a way of being in the world, instead of making that decision ourselves, we brought a group of friends together in our home for, I think, was it 2 days? 2 or 3 days, and that was the exploration. You know, what if anything, should we do? And out of that 3-day exploration, there was this unanimous sense that yes, we should have something, and why don't we make it an institute? Why don't we make it a not-for-profit organization so that we have the advantage of a 501c3, so we can seek grants and do things that a for-profit organization can't do. So we decided on the CMM Institute, and then my story, this is how I remember it, is that Barnett and I were really intent on not just CMM Institute, but for personal and social evolution. And in one sense, that piece of the title for personal and social evolution is really more important than CMM Institute, because CMM is about that. And the work that you two are doing is about that. I mean, that's a naming of what it is that you're trying to do, what it is that you're doing in the world. And we could hear from everybody in this room about the work that you're doing. And to some degree, that work is really about the evolution of our individual and our social situation. So that part of the title is very important. And so when we started the Institute, we started with a board of 10 people, and we did what most boards do, and that is name, so what are some of the goals, what are some of the objectives, and we had some categories of things that were important. It's important for us to promote the next generation of CMM scholars and researchers. It's important for us to promote practice in the world. It's important for us to have a place for people to connect. And so those are the sorts of things that we were talking about as being important, and they still are very, very important. The way we organized ourselves was around committees and a committee structure. And so we did what a typical organization does when it starts up. And about 2 years into that, we really felt, those of us who were attempting to grow and let this organization emerge, we realized that we wanted to do that differently, not in a traditional way. And what that difference looks like is, instead of having preset notions of what the categories are that we're pursuing as an institute, what if we trusted the highest level of context, being mystery and emergence, and we just allowed things to emerge as they do, based on people's interests, based on their where they feel their work, where the work needs to be going. And so for the last year, the board has been doing that. We don't have really any structured agenda in terms of, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. We have allowed things to emerge, and out of that has come this wonderful relationship with Andy, has come this wonderful relationship with Howie Glasser, and many other sorts of relationships that have emerged that we could talk about, but due to time, I don't want to do that. So we are at a point right now where, and I want the rest of the board to really chime in, we're at a point right now where I think what we really want you to understand is that the Institute is us. It is not a board running it and you participating into that space. What we're attempting to do is to hold a space called the CMM Institute for Personal and Social Evolution and invite all of you into that and say, where's the energy? Where's the work? And how can the Institute support you in this work that you're doing? How can you help the Institute be the fullest